Welcome to Ayurveda and Spirituality with your host, Alakananda Ma, a renowned Ayurvedic expert and a graduate of a top London medical school. She is the principal of Alundi Ayurveda Gurukula, a unique apprenticeship-style school in Boulder, Colorado. She is a spiritual mother, teacher, flower essence maker, and storyteller. Join us as we uncover the timeless principles of Ayurveda, discover practical tips for enhancing vitality, and explore the deeper dimensions of spirituality that intertwine with the ancient science of life.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Satsang. Satsang is a meeting of hearts, a gathering of friends to inquire into the truth. Today, we're going to look at the subject of how to take care of yourself as a healer. So, the first thing we have to think about when we're uh, looking at how to take care of ourselves as a healer, like, why would I feel tired after the clinic day? Maybe I allowed my energy to get drained. So that means we have to handle that energy drain by finding ways that we can nurture ourselves, nourish ourselves. One way that can be very nice is a bath therapy. So at the end of your day in clinic, your day of seeing patients, you could plan a nice bath where you have some candles. You can put some essential oils and some Himalayan salt in the tub, and you can relax and soak. And it's a way that is both nurturing yourself and leaning towards energy clearing, which is the next thing we'll talk about after this. But it's just something that can be very nurturing and nourishing. Also, we're here in Boulder, going down to the creek, whether you're going to actually jump in the creek, but you're just sort of heading towards the time of year where we maybe don't get so excited about jumping in the creek. But just like getting down to the creek, getting into the foothills, getting to the park, getting out in nature is a really wonderful way to nurture ourselves. If we think about the people who live in the Amazon, there was someone from the Amazon who was brought to a conference or somewhere in America. And so he's in a city and he's like, this is a terrible place. Where are the trees? This is just a really awful place because he's always lived in nature and he's always lived among trees and he feels very uncomfortable in the concrete jungle. So we do come from nature. We belong to nature. We came up with creating these concrete jungles to live in, but they are not so nurturing for us. So it is going to help us support our energy if we get some time to be in nature. Uh, there's usually some kind of access, even if you do live in a city, like in Denver, there are some very nice parks that you can go to. There's a nice bike path, footpath along Cherry Creek, where you can walk along some water. There's the actual Platte River, or South Platte River, which is going to flow into the Great River. We actually, at one point, when we were driving to go to the Kala Chakra, so when we were going in the 1967 blue Chevy van, driving, but it was in the 1990s. So our 1960 blue Chevy van was not as bad as it would be now, but we were driving from Boulder to Rochester, New York, and we have the opportunity to trace along the Platte River and how it flows along and follow the whole course of it and how it flows into the great river, the Missouri. And we even had a chance to follow along to the Mississippi and get a bath in the Mississippi River, which actually literally gave us rashes. That's how bad things are. Ferdinando says he's never completely gotten over having had a dip in the Mississippi. But yeah, having dips in rivers, going into nature, taking creek paths, going to the state park. We've got some really nice state parks around here. All of these are great ways to rejuvenate our energy by being in nature. When I used to go and teach in Stockholm. This is also in the 90s. I was going to Axelsson's Institute, which is a massage school, and they would bring me to do some Ayurveda workshops, and then I'd also do like a very full days of clinic, and I'd be pretty drained afterwards. And I was near the Kungsstallmastersgarten. So it's a big garden that belonged to the king's stable master. And I just go in the evening before making dinner, I just go walk in Kungsstallmastersgarten. Just breathe in the energy from the trees and revitalize myself. So yeah, bath therapies, nature, ways to just nurture ourselves. We also might want to actually clear our energy from clinic. I mean, I'm pretty lucky because after doing clinic, then I get to go do Agnihotra. It's like the ideal energy clearing. But there's a number of ways we can clear ourselves after clinic from any energies we've absorbed from our patients. Obviously, a simple one that comes from here is smudging. You can have a nice sage and sweetgrass smudge stick. You can smudge yourself, or it's better still to have a friend or a partner smudge you because it's a little bit difficult to smudge your own back. It's fairly rare that I would honestly feel like I got so like messed up by a patient that I have to go smudge myself and smudge the house. But like I said, that's because we have Agnihotra, so we have a continuous way that the energy is being cleared and revitalized, and we're being cleared. But otherwise, smudging might be good. Um, we can you make use of different meditation practices that really help us to clear and process our energy. So there is the practice of just sitting or insight meditation or vipassana, um, which which you're going to learn from Sadananda next year. Uh, or you can also ask for private lessons and get ahead with it, whatever you want to do. Maybe. Yeah, he's an amazing teacher. So it's really like just sitting, just looking, just being with what is. So that's a way that we can allow any energies we've absorbed to get processed simply by being with what is and not by trying to alter it, fix it, change it, just by being with it. Because what we don't resist will simply leave us. There's also a really important practice, Tonglen, or sending and taking. And Evangelina, we will be learning that practice in our meditation class. First meditation class, Wednesday morning. If it's warm enough, we'll be in the garden, but if not, we'll be in the temple. Um, so this is the practice of sending and taking, and it's kind of the opposite of everything New Agey. So everything New Agey is basically about getting rid of the bad stuff and bringing in the good stuff, right? Or you can use the different colors and you can protect yourself. And that's okay, but personally, with my studies, particularly in Tibetan Buddhism, we tend to go in the direction of it's not about protecting ourselves. It's again, it's about being with what is. So literally with the Tonglen, with the sending and taking, you are you can breathe in your patients. You can actually say the name of the people that you saw that day, especially the ones that you're like, oh my God, that was like such an incredibly sad story, or that sad story was so like my story. It's like really affecting me, or whatever it is, or someone that you feel like, I wish I could actually help this person, but they're a terminal condition. What can I do? I'm not going to be able to cure them. The best I can do is give them a better time. So you can breathe in that person's name. This is the way I use this practice specifically for working as a healer. Visualize that person, breathe them in, say their name, breathing in that their suffering, that they have come come to you to get that suffering relieved. Breathing in the hot, dark, heavy, breathing in the pain, and then breathing out light, white, pure, clear, breathing out bliss, breathing out well-being, breathing out happiness to that person. So that's a kind of a little bit of an adaptation of the overall Tonglen practice, but it is the same practice, but you're specifically using it for your work as a healer. I have to say that I personally found this incredibly helpful because I'm a exceptionally strong empath. So when I was younger, that could be quite troublesome. Like if I was living somewhere, I would get other people's symptoms. And sometimes it was difficult to sort out if I was having a symptom because I was sick versus if I was having a symptom because someone else was having a symptom. And they could be quite severe symptoms. And I had to kind of learn to figure out, is this like real? Is it me or is it someone else? Back then in Britain in the 70s, no one was really talking to young people about being an empath and what that experience is like or how to handle it. I had to like figure it out for myself, um, what was even going on. That I was, in fact, taking on other people's pain. And through the Tonglen practice, you can like you can grapple with that as like, okay, I'm taking on other people's pain. That is like extremely cool. But at the time, I didn't know the about the Tonglen practice, but I had uh, well, through my Christian studies and so on, I make up in my body the suffering of Christ. I did have an idea that you could take on suffering for other people and you could in some way transform it. Later, when I got to India and we were at Shantivanam in South India with Father B. Griffiths, and we had the opportunity to attend a special conference there. There were a number of people who had been at a big science and spirituality conference in North India who then came to Shantivanam. So we were really lucky. And one of these people was a Tibetan Lama, a High Lama. And he introduced me to the practice of Donglen. I was like, oh, wow, this is like the best thing that could ever happen to an empath is learning this practice because one simply doesn't have the energy to be trying to get rid of or push away other people's pain. It's creating a constant dualism where you have to like put up this violet light or do this thing or try to get rid of this. I don't have the energy for that. Uh, and it didn't fit with my spiritual orientation about making up in my own body the suffering of Christ or redemptive suffering. This Buddhist practice fitted completely with the redemptive suffering orientation. And it takes a lot less energy and effort to flow with being an empath than to try to like cure yourself of it or repel stuff or protect yourself. So that it was just absolutely wonderful when I learned this practice, and it has become down the decades. I would say it's second nature. I would say that I live in a state of Tonglen, that I can sit down and practice it formally, but it's like a continuously happening process, which has made my life as a strong empath so much better. And now that I'm older, I don't think I'm like literally getting a lot of people's like actual symptoms to where I would might imagine I was seriously ill or something. I think that's kind of calmed down with learning how to be an empath, how to be a healer, how to live with this in a good way through, especially through the Tonglen practice, through just being open, letting it run through, receive the suffering of the other person, and it transforms through what we call the bodhicitta, through the mind of awakening, through our own compassion and allowing that suffering gets transformed as we breathe the love, the bliss, the happiness to the people that we've seen that day, to the people that we're concerned about. So that's really been the main one for me of how to take care of myself as a healer, has been doing that practice as it comes up, and otherwise learning to live in a state of Tonglen, so I'm flowing with who I am as an empath and a healer rather than battling against it. There's also a practice that's taught in Tibetan Buddhism, which is called the Vajrasattva practice. But in essence, it's like you're visualizing a being above your head when you're initiated with the Vajrasattva practice. It's a Buddha called Vajrasattva who is excreting this beautiful white light. And you get cleared because you're allowing this beautiful white light from this being to flow into your whole body, but it doesn't stop there. It can't stop there. It flows out of you to purify the whole world. Um, I can't like teach you the practice because I haven't been initiated to teach it, only to practice it. Um, but the overall idea is that there's a being above your head who you can visualize, who's a being of holiness, of purity, who you can allow that white light of that being to pour into you and flow out of you to cleanse the whole world and remove all the sorrows and suffering in the world. But again, it's very important. It never stops with you. The most important way to be happy, the most important way to clear our energy, the most important way to sustain our energy and take care of ourselves is to have that complete focus on the happiness of others. Because that cramp that we put in of I, me, mine is what it just causes so much stress, and it causes us so much unhappiness. And it is the cause itself of imbalance as opposed to a real openness and flowing. Next step that we have here for taking care of yourself as a healer is empowerment. Uh, you remember you're told when you come into clinic, if the patient makes a joke, don't laugh unless I do. Because if the patient is trying to fob me off or fend me off with a joke, I don't want you to support that. And don't do the oohs and the ahs and the ums. Just be there calmly, quietly. Because even when people are spending their money to come and see you, they may resist you at the same time. I want to talk about one specific type of patient that we've unfortunately encountered several times in student clinic, very occasionally in my clinic. And these are patients who have what's known as Medusa complex. So Medusa is the gorgon. I actually saw a like fantastic carving of Medusa in the underground aquifer water system in Istanbul. Really amazing. She is like hideous and scary, and just to see her turns you to stone. So there are those people whose thing is to go from one practitioner to another, turning them all to stone. Um, that's why I always feel a little bit scared when people come to see me and they say they've seen this person, this person, this person, and they've done this and this and this. And especially if they've seen a number of my colleagues who are very good. I've seen John Durard, I've seen Nita Desai. I'm like, well, they're really good practitioners. Can you explain why you've come to see me? Because, they've been practicing a long time too. Nita's absolutely amazing. Like, what's going on here? Of late, I've just been kind of very open and said, this is a little bit scary because you've seen all these people and done all these things and you didn't get well. And I really hope I'm going to be able to help you because I'm sort of setting the stage a little bit that I'm not going to be the miracle worker. I'm also not going to be the next person to get turned to stone. So to be really careful about this, how you really know that you've landed yourself with a Medusa complex patient is probably first of all, they are giving you this whole list of other people they've seen and how they didn't get helped. Secondly, on top of that, that you feel exhausted or drained after seeing them. And you may even feel like you wish you'd never have to see them again. Well, maybe you should. It's okay to fire a patient. We're allowed to do that. If you feel that someone's draining your energy and basically they're here to turn you to stone, you can refer them on. But if I'm referring someone like that, I'm probably going to warn my colleague, I'm referring this person to you here. I did have this experience. So it's just something to be aware of. It's something that's come in from the field of psychology that we were lucky to learn about. I would say it's happened to me pretty rarely, maybe 3 or 4 patients over the years, but way more commonly in student clinic because people don't have to invest as much, as, at least financially, into student clinic. So it's a little bit of an open door to come and see how you can mess with someone. Um, so something that we've talked about in roundtable and supported people with. The next thing about empowerment is holding your ground, not letting the patient take you in a direction. You're going to make your diagnosis. For us, we are making an Ayurvedic diagnosis. We are going to see things in the paradigm that we see it in. As Dr. Lord will always say, Prakriti Vikriti paradigm. We're going to see things the way we see them. We're going to hold our ground. We're going to be the decider of what we can do, what's important, what's not important, not getting knocked off or pulled in other directions. That's another important part. And the third is avoiding the success failure paradigm. What I've personally found is it's really easy for me to dodge the success end of it and the excessive praise. It's like excessive praise just goes over my shoulder. It doesn't stick. Like I was telling you in another class, this this woman will always come in and go, "You have healed me." And I don't heal anyone. People heal themselves. I'm just facilitating it. So being told you have healed me is so much not a part of my world that it doesn't stick with me. But if someone comes in and tells me how awful I am and all the, all the dreadful things I did wrong, uh, that that failure end of it is gonna easily stick to me. That's much more problematic for me. And you can look at criticism that's good. There was a patient, maybe 2008 or something, who complained that all she got was some scroll, being my handwriting. And I told her to be gluten-free, but I didn't tell her how, which honestly, in my mind, is because you can click on like 10 gastroenterology sites that'll tell you how to be gluten-free. But I took her criticism to heart. I returned her check. People used to pay by check back then. She was really annoyed that I returned her check, but I was like, I'm not getting money from someone that doesn't doesn't think I did a good job because I thought I did a good job. I also like spent hours and hours and hours making these amazing gluten-free handouts that we have, um, because I was responding to what she said. It kind of started on the whole journey of making all these amazing handouts to give to people. So you can see where, yeah, maybe the person's telling me that this thing would be more helpful. But remember, in the end, it's not about you. And if you buy it that you're good because the person got well, then you have to be bad because they didn't. So just don't buy anything, any of it. Just stay in your power, which is, you're doing your best. You're doing what the Ayurvedic texts advise you to do. And you're doing the best you can do, and that's it. Another important part of taking care of ourselves as a healer is trying to avoid the inflation where we do start to feel we're like so important and we're like larger than life because, we're a healer, we're a doctor, we're a practitioner, we're a blah blah. Um, you know, we don't want to have that affect us on an ego level. We don't need to get inflated about it. We just stay humble, stay ourselves. You know how to do what you know how to do. You know that if you studied at Alandi, you know you're really good because you've gotten really good training. You've really been looked after. Great. But that doesn't make you like specially special or something. Like, uh, when we start out as a healer, we may want to feel very proud of ourselves and get this ego inflation, and that's where we can get sucked into the success failure paradigm. So we just want to stay simple, stay humble. You know what you know, you do what you do, always gaining experience. And then I thought I was really good in my 50s. I thought I was really good in my 60s, but man, am I on top of my game now? Now the question is how long will the marbles stay? Like as long as I got my marbles, I have so much more experience. And that means I would maybe not agree with some of the things that I did in the past. They were okay. Maybe they even really helped people. But a lot of water has flowed under that bridge, and I've learned a lot since then. So, see, when I was admitted to medical school, we were all told you are now perpetual students of St. Bartholomew's Hospital Medical School. The perpetual student thing was really, really important because you never know it all. You never know enough, you never know too much. I was talking with a Savary. A Savary has like an advanced degree in Ayurveda from India, but she also has the same attitude of me of needing to read the text more, needing to study more, needing to get more experience, needing to learn more, needing to grow more because there's so much and we'll never know it all. So stay simple. And then the last thing with taking care of ourselves as a healer is about the financial energy balance. And that's definitely been a big struggle for me. First of all, when I was a doctor with the National Health Service, it was, you just collected you went to a little window and got your salary uh, every week or every 2 weeks. I don't remember when you went to the little window and got your salary, but you got your salary and you saw your patients. There was never a money exchange with the patients because it was the National Health Service. The patients didn't pay anything. You could treat whoever came your way, give everyone what they needed, and pick up your paycheck, which you never had time to spend. When you're a junior doctor, you have no time to spend any money. You're living in a room in the hospital, eating hospital food. Sometimes me and Jill would be making something like parsnips together in our like hospital room kitchen, but you don't have time to spend money anyway. But you're never getting money from the patient. So it was really hard for me starting with this kind of practice and realizing that I had to charge people money. And I tried different things like just doing it by donation. That's okay, but some people might not want to donate very much. And in the end, if there isn't a financial balance, then I'm going to have to go and bag groceries at Ideal Market instead of doing what I've spent decades training to do. So there has to be some kind of balance so that I can do what I'm here to do. So I tried various things, and in the end, two things have worked for me for financial energy balance. One is a teaching from the Holy Rule of St. Benedict, which is given to the monks and the nuns, that it's okay to sell your stuff. But the basic teaching from St. Benedict is charge less than the market will bear. Put 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 your price somewhere in the mid-range. Don't overcharge the people for your milk or your vegetables or your whatever. Charge less than the market will bear. So that is one aspect of it, that charging less than the market will bear has been important to me. And the other thing that we have settled on is having a sliding scale and a rule that no one is turned away for lack of ability to pay. That way, that's where I've landed, that feels comfortable for me. It's something as a healer you need to work through, see what feels right to you, see what feels comfortable for you. We are one of very few sliding scale Ayurveda clinics in this country. At Nama conferences I did hear of one or two others that are like us, tailored to no one should be turned away. So you find your own balance with it. Then, according to the text of Ayurveda, the Shrut gives a list of people you can't charge: widows, the elderly, the indigent, and your close friends. Although, frankly, I have had close friends that have chosen to pay because they want to support, and that's cool. Dr. Ludd has always never charged us because of these rules, because uh, I'm his sister and we were like siblings in another life and stuff. So he's never charged us for seeing him, and I can't imagine he ever would. But once there's that list of people that you don't charge, or you have at the bottom end of your sliding scale, or however you're doing it that works for you, then Sushruti explains that just like when you are watering the paddy fields, all the little weeds that grow along the irrigation ditch get watered. In the same way, there is no harm if when you are relieving suffering and offering healing to people, you also get your living. It's not the purpose of why you're doing it. Most of you have other ways that you can make more money. Like Kayla's a graphic designer, my goodness, etc., etc. You have other ways you can make more money. That's not why you want to do this. There's some real drive to serve, some real drive to help people that brings you to this. Yet, in doing this, the little weeds, that is your needs, need to get watered. It's not your main intention, otherwise you wouldn't be here, but it has to happen. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I've learned about financial energy balance. So we looked at looking at self-nurturance, not letting our energy get drained. We looked at ways to clear our energy. We looked at empowerment, not getting inflated. And we looked at financial energy balance and just the whole importance of taking care of ourselves as a healer.
Thank you for tuning in to Ayurveda and Spirituality with Alakananda Ma. We hope today's exploration has ignited a spark of curiosity and insight within you. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review and share it with a friend. For more enlightening discussions and practical wisdom on Ayurveda and spirituality, subscribe and join our Facebook group, Alundi Ayurveda. To allow us to continue sharing valuable content, consider donating to Alundi Ashram. The links will be in the show notes. Until next time, may you walk the path of Ayurveda with grace and embrace the light of spiritual wisdom in your journey.
Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardanam urvarukamiva bandhanam mrityormukshiyam